This video is sponsored by my Yu-Gi-Oh collection because Creepshow Art has been banished to the Shadow Realm.
If you are seeing this video, it means one of two things has happened. Either one, my lawyers negotiated with Emily's lawyers and we reached a private settlement which resulted in some form of retraction, or two, I took Emily to court for defamation and came out the other side. This video is being made for posterity to show I didn't do what I was accused of and to show that what Emily has accused me and my husband of not only never happened to her, but could not have happened. This video is being made to simply defend my and my husband's name and prove we did not do the things we were accused of.
Hi, hello, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks. Sorry for that long break. I was just busy with work because, as you all know, I work in a restaurant. That is not doxing myself, by the way. Creepshow Art, that's not doxing myself. We'll get into that. But I've been busy for the past couple weeks because it was the busiest time of the year. But now that it's slowed down, I am free to do things like this again, which I wanted to do. But I wasn't expecting to do Creepshow Art because Creepshow Art uploaded on New Year's Eve. Speaks to her character. We'll get into that. So, just wanted to say hello, welcome back, and without further ado, let's get into this video. Hey, what is up everybody? Yes, I returned to your phone, your computer, your TV, your tablet, your laptop. I don't know what you're watching me on right now, but welcome back to all of you legends. It's me, it's Malcolm, and today was not expecting to talk about this person. I wanted to cover them from a couple months ago, never got a chance to, but they decided to upload and come back only to leave and say they don't care. But if you didn't care, you wouldn't upload. It's a lot. So today, for the first time ever, we're going to talk about Creepshow Art clapping back at Emily Artful, trying to expose Emily Artful, trying to destroy Emily Artful's character, credibility, whatever you want to call it. Let's just say this video was a massive flop and failure, and we're going to go part by part and just discuss why. It seems like everybody's on the same side that this video by Creepshow Art to try to save her and her husband's name didn't work. So there are 18 parts, some are short, some are long. I've tried to summarize it as best as I can to save you 2 hours and 31 minutes of your life. So if you haven't watched the video, do not because I want you to take away some of these views, only because a lot of the stuff in that video was repeated over and over again. So just to save you 2 hours and 31 minutes of your life, I just figured I'd just summarize what each part was about. And if you really need to know the context behind everything, I will link both of Emily Artful's videos that are still public about Creepshow Art. I will be linking some other creators down below as well, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And just this whole situation, a lot of people thought it was over because one, Creepshow Art just stopped posting. They responded on social media, deactivated their social media for a while, but then reactivated it, and then people caught it. Yeah, so Creepshow Art came back just to post a video, just to say, but I don't care, I'm done. So, good job, I guess. I don't know. So, what led up to this whole Emily Artful exposing Creepshow Art thing? Well, if you watch Emily Artful's video, first of all, hello, welcome. If you're new here, welcome. I do kind of deep dive commentary videos. I really don't sometimes. Sometimes I'll do short ones, but this one, follow me. Okay, so Emily Artful is a art YouTuber who's been around for a couple years now. Same thing with Creepshow Art. They're kind of like the same person in a way that their content is kind of like similar. Emily Artful has definitely been around way longer than Creepshow Art, to the point where people feel like Creepshow Art copied Emily Artful, which if you look at their videos back to back, I can see why they would come to that conclusion. So Emily Artful and Creepshow Art were actually friends for a couple years. And there were a lot of things that Emily Artful was going through, dealing with this stalker, dealing with someone that was harassing her, and things like that. And then circumstantial evidence, and this is why I say watch Emily Artful's video for like the full context. But circumstantial evidence and things point to Creepshow Art being the one that was actually stalking Emily this whole time. And not only the stalking thing with Emily, there were also posts on this website called Lolcal. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically like an anonymous forum, and it's not good. There's a lot of transphobic, homophobic, racist comments, racist posts on that platform. Circumstantial evidence, yet again, seems to prove that Creepshow Art was posting not only about themselves and bashing themselves, but talking about other creators on that website. And also, like I said, transphobic, homophobic, racist comments and posts by Creepshow Art on that website. And Lolcal themselves actually exposed Creepshow Art for doing this kind of stuff. A lot of circumstantial evidence points to Creepshow Art being the culprit behind all of this. And I know what you're going to ask next if you don't know, but Malcolm, how long was Creepshow Art stalking Emily? Well, my friends, what have I told you? That it was years, not even a couple months, years of stalking. Imagine someone ruining your life for upwards of 10 years and then pretending to be your friend. And not only that, and we're gonna get into this a little bit more as well later on, imagine marrying your best friend's abusive ex. Don't have to imagine that, my friends, because that's exactly what Creepshow Art did with Emily Artful's ex, who we're going to talk about a lot in this video because that's what Creepshow Art did. As you saw in that intro clip, Creepshow Art's whole goal was to vindicate both her and her husband Anthony, who we've already discussed as Emily Artful's ex, that was abusive and all this stuff. I feel like nobody's enraged by that enough to say you're somebody's friend or whatever, but you're married to their ex that's abusive. My brain hurts thinking about that. So that's like the quickest synopsis I can give you for the background for this video if you're not familiar with anything. But yes, please watch Emily Artful's videos for the full context. I swear it is worth the watch. So there are 18 parts that I will be going over that was in Creepshow Art's video. And like I said, I'm going to break it down to 1 or 2 sentences as best as I can, because if we try to break down every little lie or every little contradiction Creepshow Art presented for herself, we would be here all day, and I do not have all day. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to do, and this is even before you press play on the video, right? So, you know, all YouTubers have a description box. It's down below. We usually link our socials, previous videos. We talk about what the video is about, things like that, right? If this does not tell you the type of person Creepshow Art is, I don't know what to tell you. So we're gonna read the description from the video, which is titled "The Lies of Emily Artful with Evidence." If you look at the description, it reads as follows. "I want to thank my legal team, family, and no one else." First sentence, screw her fans. Just, if you're a fan of hers, she basically told you that she's not thankful for you. But, okay. Because you people couldn't even scroll down on an Instagram page to fact check her. You really said no evidence? That's fine. It's not like she's accusing these people of felonies that could ruin their lives. Her own YouTube channel debunks all of her claims. She said she was so scared to post about her location online during a time when she was actively vlogging around her city. saying where she was living and more. But per usual, I will do all the heavy lifting because you guys are lazy. Someone sounds so bitter. It's not even laughable. Like, homegirl sounds bitter. And first of all, the fact that there's like not proper grammar, not proper punctuations, it is like sending me through the moon. Remember, she didn't thank her fans and she called all of us lazy. You want to talk about lazy? This video was so poorly edited. I'm literally sitting here wondering what took her so long to release this video, because literally half the video is a gray screen. And like I said, this video is so boring. Let's continue. For ease of understanding / the ability to read along with the video and see more evidence, here is the Google Doc of the script, which is 90 pages long. I don't think anybody wants to read 90 pages of Creepshow Art feeding you a character assassination, so we're not going to do that. We're probably going to read the final statement, but that's pretty much it. The Google Doc also contains links of various social media cited in this video. Social medias that were run by Emily that have evidence of her lies on it, that she purposely withheld in order to slander my husband and I. The only social media I chose not to link is her 3 Facebooks, because in her original video, she said she wouldn't be comfortable with them being public. But in this video, you put literally everything else about her life public. It's giving stalker energy, even though she's not a stalker. Oh, here's my favorite part. I heard about this part. The last paragraph says, I will not be responding to comments, even though you posted a pinned comment responding to comments. Anyway, I will not be interacting with this video, even though, again, you posted 1, Instagram stories, and 2, you posted a pinned comment, therefore lying to yourself and interacting with the video, or this channel after this. Lest it be talking about how certain people like Ashley, Lily, and Repzion went above and beyond to lie, dox, and slander me. P.S. Repzion saying in his video he wasn't really friends with me is silly, saying as he cried on a Discord call with me because he, quote, had never had real YouTube friends and had never been as close to someone online, end quote. But sure, try to save your skin. This is such a way to burn all your bridges and to give everybody a giant middle finger, because you couldn't see how terrible the person you were married to was, and you couldn't take accountability for your own actions. This whole video is, I'm the victim, apologize to me, I want to stay with my husband even though he's an abuser. Oh, you thought I was kidding? That's really the whole video. Emily is a liar. I'm telling the truth. My husband did nothing wrong. So that was the description in Creepshow Art's video. And if you look down below, she pinned her own comment. She left even more information that honestly, like, just looking at it, it's mind-boggling. So something that happens a lot, which makes this video so much longer than it has to be, and I've already talked about it a little bit, is that Creepshow Art is like showing a clip or a screenshot and then going, I will explain this in another part, instead of just saying what she needed to say then and there. And again, just, it's over elaboration with a lot of evidence that kind of proves that Emily was right, that you were stalking her. And not only that, you prove that it was worse than we all thought. Like, this video felt like, remember when Gabby Hanna released that video because Jessie Smiles wouldn't do what she wanted to do? This is giving off the same energy, because as you're gonna read in a Twitter post later from Emily Artful about this whole thing, It seems like that's what Creepshow Art did. She released this video because Emily wouldn't do what she wanted. So again, it's another situation of using something as leverage over someone. It's not blackmail because I don't think it's blackmail. It's also a threat that Creepshow Art seemingly went through with. And uploading on New Year's Eve just goes to show you that Creepshow Art sees themselves as like this big person compared to everyone else, right? And I also want to mention this now in case I forget. YouTube monetization has like a special rule where if you don't upload for 6 months, they can take your monetization away. So a lot of people pointed out that Creepshow Art most likely uploaded this video to not lose monetization, even though she says she's done with YouTube. But for some reason, I just don't think she's done with YouTube. I feel like within another 6 months, she's gonna come back and try to revamp herself, or try to be like, oh my god guys, I've learned so much, blah blah blah. You know how it goes with these YouTubers. Like, they always say, it's like the ones that always say I'm gonna go away never go away. It's always the people that just kind of leave and just don't talk about it are the ones that actually stay gone. But yeah, I just found that funny that it's pretty obvious that she might come back within 6 months just to save her monetization, because it's like, what else are you doing, you know? Not saying that, you know, Creepshow Art doesn't have a job or something like that, but it definitely felt like YouTube was like her main source of income, but we shall see. And I just want to make this clear one more time, and again, this should show the kind of person Creepshow Art is. She is married to Emily Artful's abusive ex. That should tell you everything you need to know about Creepshow Art. That should tell you everything you need to know. And lastly, I know I already mentioned it earlier, I just want to mention it now because, like, once we break it down, you're gonna be like, well, did she ever talk about? She did not. So Creepshow Art never addresses the locale situation. And again, the locale posts are where Creepshow Art posted transphobic, homophobic, racist posts, bashing herself to like give herself some sympathy points, bashing other creators, things like that, right? She never addresses it, because if she did, that would link up a lot of things that have a lot of gaps in her own video. Enough about the background. Before you even click the video, that was like already prior knowledge and stuff like that. We haven't even gotten into the video yet. So let's break down this video. Woo! I had to do a little costume change because I'm not Creepshow Art. I don't want to keep you bored. I want to keep you entertained and awake, because again, I almost fell asleep during Creepshow Art's video. So what I'm going to do for this video, I'm going to switch around my hoodies and my hats here and there just to have some fun. So part 1 of Creepshow Art's video was titled The Relationship. And pretty much this part, which is a bunch of nothing. I'm going to say this a lot, by the way. A lot of this video was a bunch of nothing. Pretty much this part was about Emily's past relationships and how Emily talked about them in videos, and how certain videos couldn't be about her husband, Anthony. Again, Creepshow Art's going to be trying to defend Anthony to the death in this whole video, and that's pretty much what this whole part was, where Creepshow Art would post a clip from one of Emily's videos and say, well, it couldn't have been Anthony because this. And it's just kind of like a he said, she said kind of thing. Just like when it was Jesse Smiles and Gabby Hanna. Gabby Hanna will only pick certain things that couldn't be proven unless you were there kind of thing. It's pretty much what Creepshow Art is trying to do now with the whole my husband wasn't involved in this kind of thing. Again, it didn't work, but I digress. Part 2 was about heroin, which, I mean, Not really gonna say much about this because addiction is nobody else's business. But pretty much Creepshow Art's point here is that Emily lied about her addiction dates. But it's not like people who were addicted would lie or fabricate dates because they were ashamed or embarrassed. Nope, couldn't be that. And that's all I'm gonna say about that part, because again, that kind of stuff is not anybody's business but the own person's business. So if Emily lied about her like addiction dates or like sober dates, again, not really our business. And just, I felt like that part was extremely gross. Just don't talk about other people's addictions. I don't know, just something about that is weird to me. But anyway, so part 3 was about online harassment, and this part was only like 4 minutes long, and this was about how Emily was supposed to be in a music video but chose not to be because of the online harassment. And that's pretty much what the part was. I kid you not, I just saved you 4 minutes and I explained it in 20 seconds. You're welcome. We're starting to get into like the nitty-gritty parts, and this is where, again, it just seems like Emily was right after all, that Creepshow Art was this kind of stalkerish person, because there is no way you have all these screenshots and stuff saved from all these deleted accounts and stuff unless you already had them. So part 4 was titled Emily Sugarfruit, and in this part, Creepshow Art tried to debunk the claim that her and Anthony were harassing Emily because she was in the animated community, and with this channel name Emily Sugarfruit, there were like multiple channels making videos about her in a bathtub, which, I mean, she was in a bathtub. A lot of anime channels got really upset about that because she did some review in a bathtub. I can't really remember. All I just know is that it was anime related. She was in a bathtub, and a lot of people were upset, and they made videos about it. Pretty much this part was, see, me and Anthony could have messed with Emily. Look at all these other people that could have messed with Emily, which is high levels of deflection. And it was kind of like honestly hilarious to see. You're trying to, one, paint a target on people's backs that in a way don't deserve it. Like, yes, like looking at their videos and stuff, yes, they kind of did come for Emily kind of hard, but at the end of the day, I thought this video was about you and your husband, not trying to villainize other people. Couldn't be that. Now, part 5 was about Emily's camming that she only did for like a month, and this part was also short. Basically, Creepshow Art tried to debunk the claim that Emily was forced to do camming for a month while showing screenshots from Emily's social medias just to be like, see, she's a liar. Which, yes, that's pretty much what that whole part was. I saved you 3 minutes of your life. You're welcome. Now, a lot of people at this part, which is part 6, which is disproving her own story, this is where a lot of people started to get back on Creepshow's side a little bit, but as you will quickly see, she loses us again almost immediately. But part 6 was disproving her own story, and like I said, a lot of people kind of like saw Creepshow's points here, and showing videos from Emily about how she was like, how do these people keep finding me, ? And things of that nature, right? So Creepshow did show parts where Emily herself like geotagged posts. And we don't know what geotagging is. It's like when you post like something on Instagram or Facebook and you enable the location of it, which everybody can see, and if they click it, they pretty much kind of see the area where you took that photo in. So that's pretty much what geotagging a post is. But also in the same breath, even when showing proof, Creepshow Art definitely could have like censored some names and locations and things of that nature. But giving Creepshow Art a little bit of credit, which is like more than I expected to give, she did show that, hey look, we weren't stalking her, and like that's kind of like the only credit I'll give her. But this part was still also very, very creepy, because it's like, how do you have so many pictures and receipts, right? It's giving stalker energy, to be honest with you. Also, Creepshow's point here is, how can you be scared of being stalked if you're willingly talking about the area you live in? Which, in a sense, isn't fair, because that definitely comes off as victim blaming. Like, especially in these days and ages, to blame someone for somebody else's consequences is like the pure definition of victim blaming. I feel like Emily has a right, if she wants to tag her post with location, she is free to do so. But if she also understands the risk, then in a way, like, if she understands the risk, then hey. But to make it sound like, well, you shouldn't be doing that at all if you're scared, is kind of like trying to tell someone how to handle a situation, which, again, I don't think that's fair. I think that comes off as pretty much victim blaming. It's kind of like when people are at the club and I can't remember what it was, right? All I remember is, like, there was like this advertisement for like this product to protect girls' drinks at bars, and there were just like a lot of people saying, well, why don't you just watch your drink, or like, why don't you just take your drink with you? But like, the whole point of that is, women shouldn't have to do all these preemptive measures because other people are horrible. And again, going back to Creepshow Art, just because, you know, like, just because Emily tagged post or things like that doesn't like give her like some sort of pass to be stalked. I don't know what Creepshow Art's whole message was on that part, but it just gave off like, this is your fault kind of energy, which is, again, victim blaming. We're gonna start talking about Amy in a little bit, only for like a slight bit, because there's a whole part dedicated to Amy and who that person is. But just a little bit of background. Amy was the one that was stalking Creepshow Art, only for people like Emily and other content creators to put together the pieces that Emily was never real and Creepshow Art was the one doing all that stuff. And that's all the background you need to know. Because in part 7, which is called the Snapchats, this is where Creepshow Art started to talk about Amy. Just to make it clear, Amy was not this actual person's name. It was more so of a pseudonym. And this part also discusses about how Emily felt that someone was stalking her through messages through Snapchat. More victim blaming by Creepshow Art, I know, very shocking. This part is where Creepshow Art goes, why would you screenshot instead of going to the police? Question mark. Which, again, why are you trying to tell someone else how to process what they are going through at that moment, or how they should be going through something at that moment? This whole video is victim blaming, shaming, deflection, and just narcissistic behavior through Creepshow Art. Just another costume change. How do I look? I look great. Thank you. Anyway, part 8 was titled Anthony's Tweets, and in this part, Creepshow seemingly admitted that Anthony would troll Emily, saying that he lightly trolled Emily because she blocked him on Instagram, and even though they were seemingly on good terms, he couldn't figure out why. And this part was like 30 seconds at the most. Yeah. If you want to listen to Creepshow Art basically admit that even though she says Anthony and her wouldn't do those kind of things, she basically said, yeah, Anthony trolled her, but it was light trolling. So if you really need that timestamp that bad, it was at 1 hour and 21 minutes. You're welcome. It's literally the beginning of that part. I didn't feel like showing the clip because 1, it would be too easy, and 2, it would be too easy to dunk on Creepshow Art. So I'll let you do it. But part 9 was about the Rewired soul drama, and I personally do not know much about this situation. So if somebody wants to explain it in the comments down below, please do, because I was kind of a little bit lost here myself. But this part was more of like a trust me bro kind of like moment, because in this short part, yet again, like there's a lot of short parts here, Creepshow Art says that the account's being mean to Emily due to this drama with this Rewired Soul YouTuber weren't her, even though Emily was very adamant that even the troll accounts were Creepshow, right? So Creepshow basically says, well, it wasn't me because you have no proof, while also having proof it wasn't her. So she's like, you don't have proof, but I also don't have proof, which it kind of cancels out at that point. So pretty much that was a whole bunch of nothing. Part 10 is titled, quote, my problem with a big art YouTuber, end quote. And another short part where Creepshow Art tries to defend herself from the claim that she was under Emily's videos in the comments with fake accounts, basically saying that Emily was copying her and things of that nature, right? And Creepshow Art pretty much has another trust me bro kind of moment where here's the issue though. With the lolcow situation, Creepshow Art used multiple accounts to bash herself and her friends. Now that we know about the lolcow stuff, Creepshow Art really didn't see anybody as a friend, but that's a whole nother can of worms that I can't even dissect, because that in itself bothers me for a lot of reasons, but I just don't have time to really give my full thoughts on that. But who's to say, if she was able to do all of that on lolcow, who's to say that she probably wouldn't do the same thing here? It's very easy to make a YouTube account and just like have like 5 accounts with like 5 different emails. It's very easy to, it just takes like what, 30 seconds at the most. So I don't see what Creepshow was trying to do there, but it was very much trust me bro energy. This is the issue when you don't address the big elephant in the room and try to deflect with the video that's basically character assassination. Like, that's on you. The bucket hat was cutting off circulation to my head because I have a big head, so I switched. Sorry about that. Part 11 is finally when Creepshow Art talks about Amy and talks about how she's real. So here Creepshow Art basically showed a bunch of emails to prove Amy was a real person. And Creepshow Art even admits that, yes, her and Emily had similar experiences while also trying to contradict what Emily said in her video. I don't know, y'all. This part, at this point I was so bored and I was just checking out. Like, I had to literally pause this video so many times because I was so bored and like the information was not doing it for me. Like, this explained nothing. It's basically saying Emily's a horrible person and she's a liar. Here's proof. And it just, like, my brain wasn't dealing with it, you know? Now, part 12 is titled Emily's Question. And at this part, again, very short, Creepshow Art responds to a part in Emily's video where she asked about how Creepshow Art, and I've asked this question myself, about how Creepshow Art got all of this information, right? And she got information on Emily, like, pre-Emily Artful days, but nobody else did. Now, again, Creepshow Art says she was sent this information, but Emily's like, how did you, only you, Creepshow Art, how did you get all this information nobody else did? And Creepshow Art in her video says that it wasn't just her getting sent this information, it was 2 other YouTubers. One doesn't exist anymore, and there was like another one, I can't remember their name right now. But if you really think about it, if that were the case, wouldn't that other creator that's still around say, hey, Creepshow Art's telling the truth here, I was also sent this information? But to my knowledge, that was not the case. So again, it's another trust me bro moment. And even though Creepshow Art made it seem like she took the moral high ground, the I would never do this kind of thing, I'm not the exposer kind of person, she all of a sudden shows all these screenshots and stuff that she was sent. First of all, why would you even have all of that saved if someone else sent this to you, right? And this was years ago. This isn't recent, y'all. This is years ago. So you mean to tell me that you just so happen to save all these receipts and stuff that you were sent years ago? Like, if you're not gonna make a video about it, then you shouldn't even have the screenshots in the first place. And this also has me believe that Creepshow Art was never sent those receipts, but she had them all along. That's the point I was trying to make, y'all. It's just, I'm gonna be transparent. People send me stuff on social medias all the time. They send me receipts, they send me links, things like that, right? But one of my biggest rules, like one of my biggest rules that I love to follow is I only go by what's public out there. Like, if somebody sends me something that, like, I can't find anywhere else, not anywhere else. If somebody sends me something that's not public information, I do not try to talk about it, because it's not fair to the audience as a whole, where I try to leave you stuff that you can find. That's what I always pride myself on when I make these kind of videos. I always try to give you information that if you looked it up, you could find on your own and you can make your own conclusion. That's why I'm linking videos down below. Like, if you see any of my other videos, I try to link stuff that at the time was public information. So yeah, I'm not one to post like screenshots and stuff of things that people really might have a hard time finding. And yes, Creepshow Art did link all these things, but again, it wasn't really that blown up. Just like when Emily tagged post from back in the day, that wasn't really blown up, but Creepshow Art kind of blew it up. Now, part 13 is titled 2014, and this part had me confused here because in this part, Creepshow Art talked about a store review she left, and I guess it's a store that Emily worked at the time. But that's not even the crazy part to me, and I think if you weren't paying attention, you are going to catch this, right? In the beginning of this part, Creepshow Art herself says that just before she deleted this Facebook account in 2019, she downloaded logs from that account. Which is weird, right? Like, I'm not the only one that think that's weird, correct? Because why in 2019, 2 years before Emily spoke up about any and all of this, would you feel the need to download logs from your now deleted account off Facebook? It's definitely giving trying to cover my ass energy, which, again, this is 2 years before Emily even spoke up about Creepshow Art and like the things that Creepshow Art did to her. So what was the point of saving these logs from 2019? I just, something's weird about that. That's all I'm gonna say. The next part is part 14, which is titled History of False Claims. Now, when I tell you this part was beyond unnecessary, it was beyond unnecessary. Half of this section was about how Emily was a teenager and had an unnatural obsession with one of her teachers, going as far as making posts about how she was obsessed with this teacher and drawing art about them. Now, I really don't know what the point of this was, because I think we can all agree that when you're that young, you will definitely do out-of-the-box things, especially when it comes to crushes. Now, the second half of this part, again, we're going back to Emily's old high school and just trying to find contradictions there. Again, at this age, emotions are very high and sometimes people don't know what they're saying or doing. So this entire part about Emily's high school days were pointless. Anyway, now part 15 is titled Random Lies, and just to make this part very short, Creepshow Art showed all these things from years ago that Emily herself already took accountability for, which there's nothing funnier than when you're trying to call somebody out for something they legit took accountability for. I've mentioned this on my own Twitter feed after reacting to this video. Yeah, Emily took accountability for pretty much everything that Creepshow Art even showed at this part. I don't know if Creepshow Art was banking on the fact that people would not fact check something like this. Oh, but if you look in the comments under Creepshow Art's own video, people were like, hey girl, she already talked about this and she already took accountability for this, so I don't know what you're doing right here, but this ain't it. And we'll get into the YouTube comments a little bit later, but I just wanted to point that out now that people already kind of like caught that and said this part does nothing, it means nothing, because Emily has already admitted that she wasn't a good person in the past and took full accountability for it. So don't know what you're doing there, but okay. So part 16, we're going to talk about Jim Campbell. And if you don't know who that is, Jim Campbell is Creepshow Art's sibling. And because I say sibling, Jim Campbell's pronouns are they, them. So I'm going to try to be mindful of that. But if I do mess up, I do apologize. It was not on purpose. But just to let you know, Jim Campbell's pronouns are, to my knowledge, they, them. So I just have one question about this part. And this is where I'm kind of like, okay, why is Creepshow Art doxing their own sibling? The only thing related to Emily about Creepshow's sibling was about how they came out and said that they witnessed Creepshow doing all these acts and being a stalker and stuff, only for Creepshow to then show a message from 2018 where their sibling says that they were wrong to say all those things. Keyword, they said they were wrong to say all those things. This doesn't necessarily mean, hey, I lied, but for Creepshow to fit her narrative, she took this message as, see, my own sibling lied. Proof. If you ever heard somebody apologize and say, I was wrong to say something, or that part wasn't true, you would realize there's a difference to say, hey, I was wrong, versus, hey, I lied. There is a big difference. So I just want to point that out. Part 17, we're going to be talking about Kevin Adam Coulter, who goes by the name Coultergeist. I think that's like their username, whatever you want to call it. Their pronouns are also they, them. So again, if I do mess that up, I do apologize. There's no evidence here on this part at all. So with like no evidence, Creepshow Art just throw out all of these allegations about this person, right? Now, remember, for this whole video, if you watched it, Creepshow Art threw a whole fit about how Emily had no proof about the things, yet talked about it. So when Creepshow Art does the same thing, she just wants you to take her at face value. Again, this whole video is a trust me bro kind of video, and it's so laughable. Creepshow Art's final statement. Like, this is basically Creepshow Art's last stand, and just, you know what? I will let you hear the very end of the video, and this is pretty much showing how bitter Creepshow Art really is. Are you ready? Here you go.
To the people who reached out, who said, I don't care if you did it, still love your content, don't leave YouTube, I love you, you're weird, don't say that to me ever fucking again, do not reach out to me ever again, that is not comforting. I spent all my time trying to help victims of what I was actually accused of, and to be told that my audience doesn't care about that is insane. To the people who told me to kill myself, better luck next time, thanks for playing. And to everyone else, go touch some fucking grass. I am done. I'm fucking done.
So, that was Creepshow Art's final words that we're ever going to hear her say. I just want to put this screenshot up because it just made me laugh, and like, this just again proves the kind of person Creepshow Art is. She says the following in like text form on her video. You ready? Okay, so I can't remember who Creepshow Art was calling out at this point, but the top line is all I needed to see just to be like, ah, that's who Creepshow Art kind of is. Okay. It says, Keem is at least entertaining. And I just... praising Keemstar for being entertaining while he's also one of the most troglodytish, racist, problematic, mental health antagonists. Anything that Keemstar is should not be praised. Just saying he's entertaining, that ain't it at all. So any bridges you really had, you burned every last one of them. And I saw Keemstar made a tweet saying Creepshow did nothing wrong. He just did that for reaction because, again, Keemstar is one of the biggest trolls on YouTube. And, like, he thinks racism is funny. Remember? He told Swoop that she was too light-skinned to talk about black issues. I remember that. That was fun. He seems fun. So I'm going to pull up Creepshow Art's final statement from the Google Doc because she definitely went off script for this part. And if you watched this and read this at the same time, you would be lost. But I just want to read the last part because, again, this shows how bitter and upset and just like how narcissistic Creepshow Art really is. I just want to read it for myself one last time, and you can get a good laugh, and I'll get a good laugh, and we all can have good laughs because that's what we do here. This is a direct shot at her fans. Watch this. She says, "To the people who reached out and said, I don't care if you did it, I still love your content. You're effing weird." Imagine, right? Imagine supporting a creator through a controversy just for them to tell you that you're weird for supporting them. Woo! See, that's what I mean by burning all your bridges. That's not comforting. To the people who told me to end myself, you almost got what you wanted. To everyone else, go touch some effing grass. I just... First of all, some of us smoke the grass. Anyway. I just... Who is this for? If it wasn't for your fans, if it wasn't for the people accusing, was it to just be pissed off? It sounds like this video was just Creepshow Art being pissed off. So... Anyway, that was Creepshow Art's final statement. Now, it wouldn't be me if, like, for something like this, I didn't read some YouTube comments because they were eating her alive in these comments to the point where even if she deleted comments, 5 more would appear. So, I think Creepshow Art gave up on deleting comments because that's some people were saying she was doing that at first. Yeah, so she definitely, even if she did delete comments, that was not gonna work this time. So, let's read some comments. Oh, sorry about that. I just had to put on my sunglasses before I see all this shade. Alright, to the comments. Here we go. So, the first set of comments here, and I just pretty much got this straight down from the video. So, I mean, if... Look at the video, it's most likely still there. Creepshow Art probably didn't delete these because at this point, there's no point in deleting anything because everybody kind of hates you. So, yeah. First set of comments says, 2 hours of you showing the extent you stalked Emily. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. We have another account here who says, you got knocked out so hard you didn't wake up for 6 months. The fight is over. The arena left. Take the L and move on. And again, you waited so long to respond to Emily Artful. Also, the fact that some people were pointing out that she waited until the dislike button or she uploaded after the dislike button was removed from YouTube to make it more convenient for her. But there are ways you can see the dislike ratio on the video, and the last time I checked, it was at like 16,000 dislikes to like 900 something likes. So let's just say this video was not received well. So the next set of comments goes, I know this woman isn't telling anyone to, quote, touch grass while permaglued in front of a computer screen while recording an entire motion picture documenting what appears to be her arch nemesis Emily's life from childhood. I didn't open up the rest of the comment because that said enough for me. This is 2 hours of wasting time, which is why I'm here to not waste your time. Plus I want to keep you entertained because I'm hilarious. Creepshow Art is creepy. I mean, she lived up to her name, so hey. Then the next comment says, Shannon provided better evidence that she stalked Emily than Emily herself did, LOL. Got another account here. This one left like a good paragraph, and this one says the following. I guess the new quote getting ratioed is comments versus likes. It's not looking good. I'm going to be completely honest. I've tried watching through this video once, but I'm struggling to understand a lot of the information presented. The editing does not highlight specific evidence in a way where I can quickly read and understand it. I can't read very fast, and pausing the video to look at screen caps that are not verbally explained or given through context is tedious. I'll try again later with a bud who can help with this issue. Yeah, like I said, this video is poorly edited. It just, if this, like, you can hear throughout the video, like, Shannon's voice, Creepshow Art's voice. I guess you can call her Shannon now because Creepshow Art isn't a thing anymore. So Shannon, like, you can hear in the video, there's like text to speech. There's like three different instances where like Creepshow Art's voice changes, meaning that this was not recorded on the same day. But I can also tell that this video was put together very quickly. So don't know how long this video actually took, but there was not very much effort to it. So maybe the claim that she doesn't really care could be true, but also she does care. Let's just be real. She does care. Just gonna read one last bit of YouTube comments, and then we're gonna look at some Twitter reactions. I also have Emily Artful's like thread from Twitter where she addressed kind of everything and said she has her own response coming to all of this. But like, there's a lot. But last bit of YouTube comments, so here we go. This person here says, wasn't there supposed to be some kind of lawsuit, question mark? I could only make it through 5 minutes of this fever dream. The next person goes, it's terrifying how in-depth you dug into Emily's life. You are seriously stalker. Do you not realize that? Again, Creepshow Art went all the way back to Emily's high school days to find posts. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Next person says, this is honestly just effing hilarious at this point, which that was me because I had to laugh through some of these parts because it was just a lot. And then the last comment I found was, this video is more of a character assassination than a defense. You literally just proved Emily right with this. Hello? Am I tripping? Like, it seems like everybody's in agreement that this was not the way to go, especially when you overshow evidence and receipts and pictures that really nobody could have been able to find, especially from deleted accounts. And then you had Facebook logs to defend yourself. It did not work. So So now I have some reactions from Twitter. I found like 3 posts that I personally found interesting myself. And then we're gonna read Emily Artful's thread on the whole thing. Cause like, again, Creepshow Art posted this on New Year's Eve. So it kind of did like ruin some people's nights, or like not ruin people's nights, but it definitely like put a sour taste in some people's mouths. Not mine though, because I already knew this video was gonna be BS before I even jumped into it. So I already had low expectations, so it didn't bother me that much. But some people on Twitter. So we have this person, I think his name is Quentin Clausen, who says, here's my take of Creepshow Art's video. She can't refute the locale stuff or her harassment of Emily, and as such, never intended to return to YouTube as her rep is tarnished. So instead, she decided to put a final video exposing everything she had to do as much damage as she could. Which is pretty much, it's a whole I'll take you down with me strategy, which failed miserably because all of us seem to like Emily Artful, and Creepshow Art failed. So congratulations, Creepshow Art, for being so dense and so problematic that, I don't know, just big congrats on failing, because that's hilarious. And then this person, I think their name is Miss Zizi, who says, this is interesting. In the description of Creepshow's video on Emily, video links have been cut to make it look like Emily deleted videos. Video links have 3 blue dots to show there's more. At the end of Creepshow's links are white, meaning she purposely typed them there, which, if you do click on it, it is true. I've done it myself. You can verify for yourself. If you click the links in Creepshow Art's description box, they do not work because they're not fully completed. So it makes it seem like Emily Artful deleted videos, thus trying to ruin her credibility. But a quick fact check would prove that Emily Artful didn't delete. So I don't know what to tell you about that. And then lastly, again, this is about Amy, and like, this is what I mean by it's so weird to bring up Amy as a real person. This person says, I think their name is AJ Queen, so shout out to AJ Queen, says, if Creepshow Art was using the name Amy as an alias, why is she using old ass emails to prove Amy exists? Who has the name Amy? Girl, when you lie, it's hard to remember the details. Alright, now we're at the part of the video where we're gonna read Emily Artful's Twitter thread, pretty much discussing everything that we kind of already talked about, her side of the story kind of thing, and how she is seemingly working on her own response to all this. So it's a 7-part thread, and it reads as such. Emily goes, I have a more in-depth response I am working on that I'll post later. But for the pressing questions, no, Shannon has not filed a lawsuit, but threatened me that if I did not delete every utterance of her name/brand without an explanation, that she sued me for defamation. Which, as we all know, Emily didn't delete anything, so Shannon pretty much released this video as like a gotcha moment. She then continues, so when we told her we would not be doing that, but would be willing to never utter her name/brand again, she released this video. Again, going through pretty much with her threat. Point number 2. The disgusting video I made about a 13-year-old was actually about me. I was the child in that situation. This has happened more than once, where I will be tormented about an embarrassing drunken/drugged up encounter, and I would tell the story to get it off my chest, but I'd reverse the roles. I learned in therapy I did this as a form of self-punishment. Regardless, it was wildly inappropriate to talk about. See how easy it is to take accountability for your actions, Creepshow Art? See how easy that is? I digress. Regardless, it was still wildly inappropriate to talk about a minor in that way. It doesn't matter that it was myself. When I was young, I had multiple very inappropriate encounters with older men, and I do believe it traumatized me. In addition to being given a cocktail of different psych meds and constant rotation, I think it deeply affected me and stunted both my physical and emotional growth. As for the rest of the video, I do caution you to be wary of some of the screenshots that were provided. Some of them were a little too on the nose and specific. I see my past postings and acknowledge that they were crappy, problematic, undefensive, but I'm suspicious of the Xerox of a Xerox. Comically loud posts that happen to only mention the things I had publicly posted online elsewhere. As I've said before, I'm willing to believe that not all of the harassment came solely from Shannon, but with all the tiny details and the evidence from when I was a child and from long deleted posts and accounts, to me, that just feels like it could just confirms what I had long suspected. I cannot speak today. I mean, taking accountability for her past It's that simple, y'all. It's really that simple. And again, we've already talked about this before. This whole notion of having all of these receipts ready after years is too suspicious. It's one thing when you have like investigative YouTubers or deep dive YouTubers, me, like D'Angelo Wallace, Swoop, like Dusty Daily, Viewer's Voice sometimes do deep dives as well. We find things that are easily accessible to the public and are just kind of like right there. We don't really dig years and years, like talking about like high school years, into somebody's past, because at some point there is like a cutoff point. But for Creepshow Art, I think this was like her last big move, and it, like we've already talked about, it failed miserably. So again, I don't really know what Creepshow Art's whole end goal is or was with this whole thing, but I can just tell you right now, nobody's really on her side. Like I said, Keemstar posted that Creepshow did nothing wrong, but he did that mostly for reaction. He probably doesn't even believe in himself, to be honest with you. I don't even have close to enough time, because I know this video already is probably pushing it, but I don't even have close to enough time to even go over all the lolcow stuff. But I will actually link 2 videos below that not only go into depth from a few months ago, but these creators were also considered to be friends of Creepshow Art, one being Tamimi and the other being Smokey Glow. So just to make a long story short, I've already talked about this, but circumstantial evidence put Creepshow Art as this person who on this website not only bash themselves, but bash other creators seemingly anonymously for some sort of clout. And not only bashing, but they were racist, homophobic, transphobic, and just like, they just went, like, I think that was their true selves on that lolcow website. This goes against everything Creepshow Art seemingly stood for in all of their videos, and in itself comes off very performative and hypocritical as hell. Just, it's giving performative, you know? My final thoughts in all of this is, all this proves is that Creepshow Art was the exact stalker that Emily talked about in her video. The video, based on the overall reaction, proves just nobody bought this crap. Just nobody bought this crap at all. Also, for more than half this video, Creepshow Art was defending her now husband, who is Emily's ex that we've already discussed, and the same ex that abused Emily. Just, that in itself should tell you the type of person that Creepshow Art is. And honestly, if they are gone for good, good riddance. That's one less problematic creator that we have never have to hear from again. Being banished to the Shadow Realm like Brooke Heltz, if you remember her. But just something tells me that Creepshow Art will be back within 6 months to save her monetization yet again. Wow. That took me a good minute to film. I had to take breaks here and there. I was actually gone for an hour in between that filming. You probably couldn't tell. Maybe you could. If you find it, link it down below. I'll probably tell you if you're right or wrong. You're probably going to be wrong. Anyway, so that's all about the Creepshow Art video. Emily Artful's response to that. And just, it's just crazy to think that there are people like this in the world, where they're so obsessed with you that they'll even go to your high school days and try to use that and paint that as you being a terrible person. Something about that just bothers me personally. It's just kind of like, that's a little too creepy for me. And I'm all about the creep factor. I'm all about, you know, deep dives. I'm all about that kind of stuff, right? But there is a limit, and I think there is a line that was definitely crossed with that video. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe don't talk about people's addiction. Don't talk about people's sobriety. Just, that's not your place to talk about, to be perfectly honest with you. And Creepshow Art, just for you, I hope like you can piss off all the way. You and your husband could be miserable as hell. I do not care. Just, It seems like you're a miserable person already, so the fact that you were able to bag anybody is shocking. So good luck to you. We here in the Legendary Squad down below, and the ones that are subscribed, we are sick individuals, so good luck. Peace out. Never want to hear your name again because you're trash, and that's really all I have to say. So once again, it is Malcolm, that's me. I have a subscription button up here if you want more videos like this. I also have 2 other videos over there for your own free time. Without further ado, I wish you well, I wish you good health, Happy New Year, and I will see you again next time.